Robert Downey Jr. is once again dominating headlines, but this time it isn't about Iron Man's past. It's about his future in Avengers Doomsday. Reports suggest major tension over the direction of the film's script, with whispers of behind-the-scenes clashes and heated negotiations. Insiders claim the storyline leaned too heavily in one direction, sparking frustration and demands for changes from Marvel's biggest star. The stakes couldn't be higher. This is a multi-billion-dollar franchise with global expectations, and all eyes are on how Downey and Marvel will resolve the standoff. Some say new writers are already being lined up to overhaul the story, while others insist production is moving forward with heavy reshoots. One thing is clear, Robert Downey Jr. isn't staying silent, and Avengers Doomsday is shaping up to be the most controversial Marvel project yet. The first signs of trouble came straight from the script. According to insiders, the draft for Avengers Doomsday leaned hard into balancing the roster. Almost every male Avenger was paired with a female counterpart. On paper, it looked like a bold move to showcase Marvel's growing lineup of women heroes, but in practice, the story began to feel overloaded, with entire arcs being reshaped just to maintain that symmetry. Robert Downey Jr. wasn't impressed. After carrying the MCU for more than a decade, he knew what worked on screen and what didn't. For him, this wasn't about rejecting strong female roles. It was about protecting the narrative from collapsing under its own weight. The idea of matching characters one-to-one stripped the film of its natural flow and threatened to turn the script into a checklist rather than an epic story. Downey's reaction set off alarms inside Marvel Studios. When the star of the show pushes back this hard, the ripple effect is instant. Executives suddenly faced a brutal question: keep the current direction and risk losing audience trust, or rewrite the script to match the scale of the film's promise. Either way, the battle lines had been drawn, and Avengers Doomsday was already living up to its name. The backlash didn't stop with the script's focus on symmetry. When Robert Downey Jr. sat with the full draft, he saw more problems than just the one-to-one lineup of heroes. The story felt bloated, uneven, and far from the epic scale audiences expected from a film titled Avengers Doomsday. For someone who had been the heartbeat of Marvel for over a decade, this wasn't acceptable. Downey pushed back hard, making it clear that the script in its current form wasn't worthy of the franchise's legacy. That resistance sent shockwaves through the studio. Executives were suddenly staring at a billion-dollar gamble that could collapse before their eyes. The conversations quickly shifted from fine-tuning dialogue to considering a massive rewrite. Insiders say Marvel began exploring new creative options, even looking at the Deadpool and Wolverine team, writers who had just proven their ability to deliver sharp, crowd-pleasing storytelling. Meanwhile, production costs mounted. Sets were built, stunt teams had filmed major sequences, and body doubles had already been used to block out scenes for Downey's character. Now, those investments risked going to waste. The tension on set was unmistakable. Either Marvel adapted to Downey's demands, or they risked losing the one actor fans see as irreplaceable. By the time the dust settled, one thing was clear: Avengers Doomsday wasn't moving forward without major changes. What began as creative disagreements quickly snowballed into full-blown production chaos. Reshoots were no longer a distant possibility, they became inevitable. Crew members who had already spent weeks filming entire sequences were told to prepare for do-overs. Millions of dollars vanished overnight, with every delay pushing the budget higher. At the center of it all was Robert Downey Jr. His presence on set was commanding, his influence undeniable. When he pushed for adjustments, directors and producers listened, knowing the franchise's success hinged on his approval. Marvel's executives were trapped in a dangerous balancing act: satisfy Downey's standards or risk losing not only their leading man, but the trust of an audience that still sees him as the face of the MCU. Behind the scenes, morale was mixed. Some praised Downey for protecting the story's integrity, while others worried his demands were slowing production to a crawl. But whatever side people were on, no one could deny this: Avengers Doomsday had become the most high-stakes project in Marvel history. Every scene, every rewrite, and every dollar now carried the weight of Downey's decision. As the pressure mounted, Marvel's once ironclad machine began to look shaky. What was supposed to be the studio's grand return to dominance after years of uneven releases was now teetering on the edge of collapse. Every day on set felt like walking a tightrope. Crew members whispered about new pages arriving overnight, entire sequences being scrapped, and schedules stretching further than anyone expected. The budget ballooned with every delay, creating fears that Avengers Doomsday could become one of the most expensive films in Marvel history. At the center of that storm sat Robert Downey Jr. His reputation as the MCU's founding father gave him unprecedented leverage, and he used it. When he spoke, everyone listened. Producers adjusted timelines, directors reworked scenes, and writers bent scripts to his vision. To some, it looked like Downey was saving the project from disaster. To others, it felt like he was rewriting Marvel's playbook to suit his own standards. The impact stretched beyond the set. Studio executives were fielding calls from Disney higher-ups, demanding answers about budgets, delays, and headlines that wouldn't stop multiplying online. Marvel had built its empire on the idea of efficiency, films delivered on schedule, polished, and profitable. But this time, everything was different. Downey wasn't just another actor, he was the actor. The one who defined the MCU, the one audiences still believed in even after his character's dramatic exit. And when he raised his voice, the entire system bent around him. This was no longer a Marvel movie, this was a Robert Downey Jr. movie wearing Marvel's costume. And everyone inside the machine knew it. By now, the tension had grown into something bigger than a film set. Avengers. Doomsday wasn't just another Marvel release, it was being treated like a global referendum on the studio's future. Fans dissected every headline, every photo leak, every whisper from production, convinced that this film would either save or sink the MCU. And standing at the center of that storm was Robert Downey Jr. Executives knew it. Cast members felt it. The crew worked under the weight of his influence. Even Disney's top brass were watching closely, knowing that one misstep here could unravel years of planning. Marvel's credibility had been fading after a string of disappointments, and Doomsday was their last card to play. If it failed, it wouldn't just sting at the box office. It could permanently damage the brand. But success came with its own price. Every change, every reshoot, every rewrite carried the fingerprints of Downey. If the film delivered, it would be because he forced the studio to hold itself to his standard. If it collapsed, it would prove that not even Robert Downey Jr. could carry Marvel on his back anymore. Behind closed doors, no decision was small. Reshoots meant millions, delays meant global marketing chaos, and walking away from Downey's demands, that meant losing the loyalty of fans who saw him as the face of everything Marvel once stood for. One film, one actor, one impossible choice. Marvel built the MCU on Robert Downey Jr.'s shoulders. And now, they were daring to test just how much weight those shoulders could still carry. Marvel has faced challenges before, but nothing like this. Avengers. Doomsday was meant to be a celebration, the next chapter in a saga that conquered the world. Instead, it's become the most dangerous gamble the studio has ever taken. Sets are rebuilt, scripts are rewritten, and money bleeds from every corner of the budget. And at the heart of it all, one man calls the shots: Robert Downey Jr. For years, fans begged to see him return after Iron Man's final bow. Now he's back, but not as a silent figure collecting a paycheck. He's back as the force holding Marvel accountable, demanding that Doomsday live up to its name in scale and storytelling. The question now isn't whether Marvel can deliver another blockbuster. The question is whether they can deliver one that satisfies the man who built their empire. Because if Robert Downey Jr. walks away, Doomsday won't just be a movie title, it will be Marvel's reality.